good day to you, sir or mom. Today, let's check out the 19 studio albums of Judas Priest and let's put them in different tiers according to my likings of them. Also, while we do that, let's check out, is there some live material from that tour that is available? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check out, there's gonna be, the best tier is gonna be called Legendary. And it means the album is perfect, pretty much perfect. Then A tier is, it's great, it's not perfect, but it's really, really, really good. B tier means it's a good album. I enjoy listening to it, nothing special though. C tier means it's mediocre, and I kind of combine with forgettable albums and stuff like that with that. And then D tier means it's shit. Okay, so 1974, first album, Rock'n'Rolla. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this one. You gotta start somewhere. And it's not hopelessly hideous, but I would place it in C tier. It's not that great. Can we find some live material here? Well, yeah, not officially, but there are some bootlegs floating around, like Rock'n'Rollers. It's a show from Reading, 22nd of 8th in 1975. There's some interesting material here. You can also check out, there's some videos of Old Grey Whistle Test from 1975 and some other rare versions like the full version of Rock'n'Rolla and Diamonds and Rust from 1975. So yeah, there's kind of live material, though not officially. Second album, Songs of Destiny. Oh my goodness, this is such a good album. I mean, sound-wise, it's not perfect, but every single track here is really, really good. I gotta put it in Legendary tier. Absolutely. Also, some of those songs you can find on Rock'n'Rollers. You can find tracks like Victim of Changes, Ripper, Dreamer, Deceiver, Island of Domination, Live. So it kind of works for both of these early tours, even though the album was all released in 1976, so 1 year later than the live show. Third album, Sin After Sin, 1977. I think this really is an amazing album. Can you see that skeleton, that skull over there? Yeah. Well, I must reveal a secret. So I've been really enjoying this album for quite some while. I gotta put it in Legendary. Yeah, it's amazing. It's not without its flaws, but it's still amazing. Can we find any live material? Sure. Sinners at the Greyhound. You can pretty much hear all the songs from Sin After Sin album. I think the only thing missing is Last Rose of Summer, if memory serves me correct. You can check it out from that track list over there. So this is really cool. Also, there's this another Cruising into Town from that same tour from San Antonio, Texas, and 1977 in June. And it's a shorter set list, but the sound quality on that one is better. This Greyhound one pretty much sounds like shite, but they play really well. Okay, then we're going for the year 1978, Staying Class. Absolutely a classic album. It has to be Legendary, no question about that. Can we find any live material? Well, yeah. Cambridge Savages has a really cool track list here. They play some rare songs here like Savage and Better By You, Better Than Me and Staying Class, but the sound quality is really horrible. And then there's another show called Tyrants of Cleveland. And actually, this one sounds pretty good. They actually took some of their single B-sides from that. So there's some great material here. Actually combine it from different sources. So this is from the 9th of May 1978 from Cleveland. So they have actually officially released these in different places. So you get 6 songs: White Heat, Red Hot, The Ripper, Beyond the Realms of Death, Victim of Changes, Starbreaker, and Genocide. So that's pretty damn cool. Definitely worth checking out. It's the first one of these live things where the sound quality is absolutely listenable, absolutely enjoyable. I would even venture to say pretty good. Here is one official source where you can find Beyond the Realms of Death, White Heat, Red Hot, and Starbreaker, all recorded in Cleveland. And this is an official CD. So I recommend you getting it, if just for those 3 songs. Even that's worth something, I think. Still, in 1978, Killing Machine, or in the US they would call this Hellbent for Leather. They would tuck in Green Manalishi on this as the second track of B-side. So track number 7, and call it Hellbent for Leather, which is fine, you know, but it's a British band, so I'm gonna go with the original. Really good album. The songwriting, they kind of go for this more simple direction. There's more tracks and they're shorter and easier. But I really like it. I still have to put this in the legendary tier. It's really good. It's really good. And what's great about this tour is that there is live material. If you're only gonna get one live album from Judas Priest, get this. It's perfect. Unleashed in the East. This is the 9-track version. Make sure you get the 13 tracks. It's better that way. Also, Live at the Mud Club, 1979. Here you can find Hellbent for Leather, Delivering the Goods, Running Wild, Beyond the Realms of Death, Green Manalishi, Victim of Changes, Rock Forever, and Starbreaker. Unfortunately, this was only released in that huge box set, that 50 years of metal thing. But it's a good show. Not as good as Unleashed in the East, mind you, but a good one. Then we hit the 80s. 1980, a big hit album for Judas Priest, British Steel, looks cool as hell, and you know, all those famous tracks are here. Breaking the Law, Living After Midnight. Unfortunately, I've heard them so many times, I don't get any enjoyment from those, really. But yeah, it's a solid album. I used to actually almost hate it, but I wouldn't say that it's that bad. I cannot call it great, though. I would put it in B tier and say it's a good album, it's solid. I wish they tried to make it a little bit more interesting, maybe. It's a bit too straightforward for me personally. Here's a live album, live in Denver, 1980. You can find this as a bootleg in many places. The sound quality isn't without its flaws, but yeah, for kind of a bootleggy live album, it's decent, and now they have officially released it. It sounds pretty much the same as it used to, the older version. 1981, Point of Entry. It's pretty bad. I wonder. At the highest, I would put it somewhere as forgettable, but I kind of hate it even more. I'm gonna place it at D tier, called Shit. I can kind of forgive Rock'n'Rolla because it's their first album, but Point of Entry is pretty hideous. The live tour was pretty successful though, and there are some really good bootlegs from that tour. Here is an official release from that huge box set, so you can see some of the songs they were playing on that tour. And it actually sounds good. I think it actually sounds better than from the British Steel tour one. So still something good to say about that time period. 1982, this is not the original version, so this is like the birthday anniversary, 30th anniversary version of Screaming for Vengeance with the different color eagle here. But a very cool album. Lots of live bonuses. There's a DVD also from US or US Festival from 1983. I would call this a great album. I really enjoy it. I don't think it's absolutely legendary. So there are some slight misses here, like Take These Chains. I don't think it's that great. Pain and Pleasure. You know, it's great though. I think you definitely should get it and listen to it and enjoy it. You silly creature, you. Is there any live stuff? Yeah, they actually released a whole DVD and live show, but here is the Atlanta, and it's like a gatefold thing. So you can see there are 2 CDs. It's pretty much the whole concert. Would I get this Atlanta one? I think the track list is pretty much the same, if not exactly the same as on that DVD. So I would rather get that Judas Priest live DVD. Get that one. Then you can also watch it. You can see sweaty Mr. Halford singing those high notes. 1984. So we've gone past 10 years. Here is Defenders of the Faith. And this is some kind of anniversary special version also. What's cool about this one is you get a whole live show from Long Beach Arena. I think they recorded and performed it in radio. And this is a really good radio show. Here's the first disc. And here's the second disc. And you pretty much get every single song from Defenders of the Faith. I think Eat Me Alive, they only performed in sometime in the 2000s. So you can find that as well. So actually Defenders of the Faith is one of the very few albums that you can find live, every single track of it. I think the live show is great. I really enjoy this one. For the first time in history, this seems to repeat the pattern that they had on the previous album. So far, every album seems to find something new to do. Defenders of the Faith kind of sounds like Screaming for Vengeance Part 2 to me. So that's the only kind of complaints I can make about this album, but it's not really a complaint. The A-side especially is really strong. I don't think it's quite as good as Screaming for Vengeance, but it's pretty damn close. I'm still gonna put it in great tier. A tier. Next one, 1986, Turbo. That was a really weird hair metal era. I really don't like this. I think it's shit. Sorry. The songwriting isn't impossible, but the production and all that, it's there's like some kind of Motley Crue thing going on there, which I really dislike. You know, it's a terrible album. If I had to pick one good song about this, I don't even like Turbo Lover, to be honest. I think that's horrible. Reckless, the closing track. That's a pretty cool one. I kind of enjoy that one. Other than that, no, forget it. It's shit. Did they release live stuff from that tour? Oh boy, did they ever. Back in the day, in 1987, they released Priest live, which was pretty cool. And here's a gatefold version of that. That was pretty cool because they cut all the older songs out, so you only got the 80s stuff here originally. Now they put some extra tracks here. I don't know if, or maybe it's the other version where they have some of the extra stuff like Hellbent for Leather from the 70s. But yeah, it's not a terrible live album, but the tour is pretty hideous. There's lots of turbo songs, so I'm not really a big fan of that. Also, if you got that ridiculous, insane box set, you get another gatefold CD from this same tour that I hate so much, called Live in Houston 1986, 21st of June 1986. Pretty much the same track list, more or less, as on Priest Live. So now I got this double thing with it. I can't really understand why they bothered to release this one as well, but there you go. 1988, Ram It Down. This is the one album that everyone seems to kind of forget. It isn't bad enough for people to hate, and it doesn't seem to be good enough for people to love. It's weirdly somewhere between Turbo and Painkiller. So actually there are some really nice songs here. The opening track is a fast one, I really enjoyed. I like the second track called Heavy Metal, which is very synthetic sounding, but I still like it as far as the songwriting goes. Hard as Iron is a cool track. Love You to Death, I kind of like that one. Blood Red Skies is kind of like this big hit. Lots of people hate Johnny B. Good, but I kind of like it. It's a fun, energetic little rock ditty. Is it great? No. Is it mediocre and forgettable? I think many people would say yeah to that one. But actually it kind of weirdly reminds me of British Steel somehow. It's like, we're like halfway there. There's some good stuff here. There's some kind of boring stuff that I never want to hear, like Love Zone, Come and Get It, I guess. So I'm gonna place it near British Steel and say it's in the good tier. Here is Live in New Haven, 1988. That's pretty cool, and this is a gatefold as well, so it's like 2 discs. And yeah, that's nice. It's really cool to hear some of these songs like Ram It Down and Heavy Metal and I'm a Rocker here. So, not bad at all. Yeah, we gotta go to the legendary tier with Painkiller 1990. If I had to pick one studio album that has not one bad song in it, this would be it. It's just perfect. So, nothing perfect from the 80s, but the 90s start really well. Oh, this must mean some good things, will it? Well, let's see. First, here is some material from that live tour, from that Painkiller tour from 1991. Actually, they released 2 separate CDs. So there's also another one. There are actually 2 CDs from this tour, and the track lists are quite different. In Irvine and then here in Los Angeles in 1990, they kind of tried out, I guess this is early on the tour, so they try out some different songs. So together, this is quite amazing because you get lots of stuff from Painkiller tour, and it's great that they finally released this live with the box set. So 90s started promisingly. What happened next? Well, nothing really happened for the next 5 to 6 years. Rob Halford just didn't want to sing for Judas Priest anymore. They got this new singer called Tim Owens, Tim A Ripper Owens, and he ain't half bad. 1997, Jugulator. I think Tim does his job really well here, especially those high screams are really well. How about some of the lower stuff? I don't know, his regular singing voice isn't the same as Halford's, so I'm not a terribly big fan of that, but still I think he does his job well. However, what's a bit misguided here is that I guess they were kind of angry at Halford and his fight project. So they really try to push hard and try to be this really heavy and really modern thing. And it just gets a bit dumb at the end. There's some great songs here, like Jugulator and Bullet Train, Cathedral Spires. Those three songs are really, really good. And then there are some pretty good ones like Burn in Hell and Death Row. But unfortunately, then there are some god awful stinkers like Decapitate and Abductors. So it's a really mixed bag. It's somewhere between good and mediocre. I mean, half of the album is kind of good, but it's definitely worse than British Steel and Ram It Down. But it's better than Rock'n'Roll, I would say. I would place this at the bottom of the good tier. Yeah. Let's get that over with. Is there live material? Yes, yes. Live Meltdown 98. 98 Live Meltdown, I guess it's called. This was pretty cool back in the day because you got lots of songs, and quite a few of those were from Painkiller, even though the singer was the wrong guy. He did a pretty good work here. Why they didn't release Jugulator live here, I will never understand. That's the song that should have been here instead of the hideous Abductors. I just don't get it. But there you go. 2000? Is this 2000? Or 2001? I'm not sure. Demolition, still. Tim Owen's album. This is pretty harsh. It's pretty bad. I think they even got Chris Changarides to produce or record some of this stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. He was involved with Sad Wings of Destiny and Painkiller, so that should have been a great thing. But this is just god awful. I can't see anything good with this one. I'm just gonna put it in shit tier. It's horrible. They released some live stuff live in London. If you can get the DVD, maybe that's a bit more interesting because there's picture involved. Not a huge fan of this one. It seems like a rehash of Meltdown. I think Meltdown has slightly better track list. This is just redundant. Wouldn't recommend it unless you're a huge Tim Owens fan. Here's Angel of Retribution. I think this is from 2005. Halford returns to the band. So it has been like 15 years since the last one Halford sang for them was Painkiller. And now he's back. Angel of Retribution. And this is the big comeback, right? This is the great album. Well, there is some promise of that. There are cool tracks like Demonizer and Hellrider. I even like the old school Deal with the Devil where Roy Z was involved. But then Judas is Rising. I don't know. It's somehow... I wish it was a bit more energetic. It's somehow a bit tired and old sounding. That's not a good sign for the album to come. There's nothing here that's really hideous, but maybe the closing section of Loch Ness seems to go on forever and ever. It's just too long for its own good. There's like this false ending. If they had ended it there, I would be pretty much fine with that song, but then it just keeps on going, and there's this huge, really larger than life chorus, and it just doesn't work for me that well. Also, Worth Fighting For, I don't really care for that track. I guess Angel is decent. Yeah, it's kind of a hit and miss. Is it even good? Well, if we put Jugulator here and half of it is good, I think this is all in all pretty much on the same pile. Nostradamus, oh my god, the double studio album. Why? Why did they do this? I mean, it looks cool as all hell. But these double albums, they're really killing me, oh my god. And it's kind of like this operatic thing. So if you ever wanted to hear a metal opera thing happening, if you have that mindset, this isn't half bad. Especially the first album, the first disc, I think is pretty solid if you're in that mindset. And there's one pretty good track on the B side. I can't remember what it is called though. Was it Alone? I can't remember. But yeah, you can kind of listen to it like that. But as a Priest album, it doesn't work for me, which is really sad considering how much they put effort into this one. And it's also what we got left with from Mr. KK Downing. So it's not good. I don't know if it's quite shit. I'm gonna put this in the C tier, which is mediocre, forgettable. It's just way too much. They really tried very hard, but I don't really get any enjoyment from it. If you want to hear some metal opera stuff, yeah, then go for it. Live material from the tour, yeah, A Touch of Evil live. And this is a pretty cool one because most of these songs have never officially been released live. They managed to get Dissident Aggressor here for the first time. Eat Me Alive is here. Then there's some of that newer stuff. Painkiller with Halford singing it. That's pretty cool. Judas Rising, Hell Rider. Yeah, all these tracks. Some of those may have been released officially before, but they pretty much got all the right tracks here. The performances, they kind of sound like an old band, a veteran band doing their best. A bit tired maybe, but not terrible. Then we get to 2013, I think. Redeemer of Souls. I was happy as a clown, as an idiot, when I first heard this. This, to this day, is the only album that I actually bought from a music store that very same day it was released. I was having my summer holidays and I just accidentally happened to be in Turku at that time, so I actually was waiting outside the store 10 minutes before it opened up and I got this. And I also got this poster from this same album, which is really cool. So thanks, Levykauppa X. Thank you very much. That was a cool experience. I would say this is a good album as far as the songwriting goes. The production values, unfortunately, are the worst pretty much ever on a Priest album. So that's a downside. Cool songs here. I really like Metallizer, even though the production is hideous here. Cold Blooded is a cool track. Dragonaut is a fine opener. Halls of Valhalla is really epic. March of the Damned is a cool one. Yeah, there's lots of songs and they're kind of nicely paced. There's like one really good track and then one slightly mediocre track and one really good one. And yeah, I can listen to this from the start to finish and really enjoy it. But some of the production is unfortunately horrible, so there you go. Can I call it great? No. Is it mediocre? No, I think it's better than that. I'm gonna put it in B tier. I'm gonna say it's a good album. Live material? Sure, Battle Cry. I think this is from that huge rock festival in Germany. Wacken, I think this is. And the track list, yeah, they tried having some of slightly rarer songs here. or maybe it's on the bonus material. You probably should just get the DVD, to be honest, because then you can also see the pictures and you get the extra tracks. It's nice to have Jawbreaker here. Is there anything else I should notice? Well, yeah, Dragonaut, Halls of Valhalla are those big songs. Battle Cry is only an intro. It would have been nice to hear that as the whole song, because that's a really cool song. I forgot to mention it. It's one of the really great tracks on here, Redeemer of Souls. Okay, then we get to 2018, sorry. Here's Firepower, the second newest album. Wow, what an improvement. As far as the songwriting goes, yeah, I think they even slightly polished that one, but what they've really done here is they have the production right. They have Tom Allen back from those 80s albums, and they have Andy Sneap here, who has revitalized so many heavy metal bands and thrash metal bands' careers. It's not even funny anymore. Megadeth, Testament, Saxon, Andy Sneap is actually absolutely a legend, and I'm really happy every time I see him play there with the guys. And there's so much metal history. And Andy, I just love you. You know, everything you've done for Priest. I really appreciate you, and I wish that Priest will acknowledge that and put some live material out with Andy, because I think he is definitely an important part of modern Priest story. I really appreciate Glenn Tipton, of course, but you know, there's always more room in the Priest family for new members. Richie Faulkner is amazing. KK is amazing. Glenn Tipton is amazing. I'm also going to say that Andy Sneap is really important, considering these two new Priest albums. So Firepower. The only complaint I have about this album is it's a bit too long for my taste. And for me, especially the tracks in the middle, Children of the Sun, maybe Flamethrower. Rising from Ruins is a fine song, but it's also kind of a slow song. The mid-section doesn't quite work for me as well as it should. If only they would have cut these 14 tracks to just 10 tracks, I would like it. Even the closing Sea of Red, I think is kind of cool for being a slow ballad type thing. It kind of works. I even like Lone Wolf. I like even Spectre, which is kind of a weird modern sound, a bit more modern sounding riff on that one. Traitor's Gate is amazing. Is it legendary? Not quite, but for me it's A tier. It should be with Screaming for Vengeance and Defenders of the Faith. And here's the newest one. Oh my god. What can I say about this one? Well, obviously I haven't had chance to hear this quite as much. I did hear the single tracks on YouTube quite a while ago. I think it sounds really promising. It's really tough to say anything certain about it. Is it going to be legendary? I feel it is somewhat of an improvement from Firepower still. I think there's something here. At the very least, it's a bit shorter. There aren't 14 tracks, there are 11 tracks. And even though some of them are a bit longer, it's a bit more concise. And I have the bonus track version. So if you actually listen to all of these 14 tracks, then it's going to be a bit longer than Firepower. But the way I see it, officially, the album starts here with Giants in the Sky. I didn't expect this to be this good. I mean, just the opening section of Panic Attack, The Serpent and the King, Invincible Shield is really strong. And then it kind of gets a bit slower and all that, but Crown of Horns, Crown of Horns has a really epic melody to it. I kind of wish it was a bit of a faster song, as it's, I guess, opening the B-side more or less. But it's still amazing. I mean, As God Is My Witness is great. I haven't really heard Escape from Reality, Sons of Thunder, or Giants in the Sky that much yet. But what I remember, I kind of dug Escape from Reality. It kind of reminded me a bit of Lone Wolf, a bit more modern stuff. So I kind of feel that this is, if Defenders of the Faith is like Screaming for Vengeance Part 2, then Invincible Shield is kind of like Firepower Part 2. Time will tell whether this is actually slightly better than Firepower, or equally good, or maybe a little bit less good. But I would place it in A tier. So, let's check it out. The best Priest album of all time, in my opinion, is Unleashed in the East. Absolutely. If you're only going to get one Priest album, get this one. But, is there... What if we only count the studio albums? Painkiller, I think, is absolutely solid. It's the perfect album from start to finish. Second best, Stay in Class from 1978, and huge important album for the history of metal. Third one, Sad Wings of Destiny. Yeah, it suffers from the production values a bit, but it's amazing still. Then it's a really tough one. I'm gonna say number 4, Sin After Sin. And number 5, Killing Machine or Hellbent for Leather, 1978. That's my top 5. Then the next best albums, A tier, great albums. Screaming for Vengeance, Defenders of the Faith, that would be my number 7. And it's really tough to say. I'm gonna place these even at the moment. Firepower and Invincible Shield. Time will tell. I'm gonna really need to listen to these, and I will know that in time, but they are somewhere number 8 and 9. Still good albums that you should probably get. Well, just for historical reasons, get British Steel. That would be my number 10 album from Priest. And then the next best thing. Oh, this is really tough. I guess Ram It Down, number 11. I'm gonna put Jugulator as number 12. It's not as bad as I always seem to recall it being. Redeemer of Souls, if only it had a better production, it would be higher on this list. And then Angel of Retribution. And then the rest is shit, so don't bother with Rock'n'Rolla, Nostradamus, Demolition. A Point of Entry, and Turbo, yeah, it's just not metal. Yeah, so I hate it for that reason, and that's why it's the worst one of the lot. Even though songwriting-wise it probably isn't the worst one, but I just love hating Turbo. It's really, it makes me feel so cheap and used when I listen to it. Ugh. So, there you have all the Priest stuff. That's it. See you on the next one.